Okay, my hand is literally trapped.
Oh
He's
no.
like he's like laying down on top of my hand. Good times.
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we have our first transatlantic interview
This
today.
is so
So
exciting.
cool. So if there's any issues with audio, it's because transatlantic, guys.
Yeah, this is all the way from the south of Africa.
Yes.
South Africa to be
South, I was like,
exact.
South Africa is the place.
Yeah,
The south of Africa. South
South
Africa in the
Africa.
south of Africa. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that was
I
chaos.
am Mandy of District 12.
I'm Karin from Havenwood Academy. Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome.
In our timeline, friends, it is March 6th. I'm still confused how it's already March.
I
Um,
know.
very confusing. And in y'all's timeline, it is March 14th. Yay!
Pie Day.
Oh my God, it's Pie Day! Go get a pie. Or
Go
two.
get a pie
Or
right
several.
now.
My
We will
God.
be here when you come back.
You can take us with you to get a pie.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
yeah, just take us with
But then
you.
I can't say this. Pause it and go get a pie. Welcome back. How was your pie? I hope it was
Oh,
delicious.
I hope that I am also having pie right now
Yeah.
because
Karen, Mandy, if you're listening to this, go get
go get
pie.
pie. It's Pie
Don't talk
Day.
yourself out of it.
Do
DoorDash
it.
it if you have to.
Do it. Pie now immediately.
Yes.
Okay.
Mandy, get Josh to bring you home pie.
I can't do that. That's unfair. How dare you?
I'm sorry.
So rude. So rude. All right. This week in fangirling, Mandy, what'd you do?
I did a whole lot that I can't talk about. So my stuff's gonna be pretty quick. I did get one of my nieces to start watching the Hunger Games with me for the first time. Her sister watched the first one, and it's been out for like 15 years, but like spoiler alert, spoiler alert, just in case. Um, Rue died, and she was like, I'm not watching any more
Okay.
of this
Bye-bye.
shit.
Yeah,
I'm done. I won't do it. She's
that's fair.
slowly coming around. It's been a few years. She's slowly coming around, so she may watch some of the later movies with us.
But I mean, that's fair. That's
Yeah,
valid.
yeah. I've had 20 years to unpack this trauma, 15 years, however
Right.
long it's been out to unpack this trauma.
Right.
The one traumatizing thing about this experience with watching it
Mm-mm.
with
Mm-mm.
niece is she didn't really care about PETA all that much. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Don't
I'm
I don't
I'm
I don't relate to this at all.
nope.
I was a PETA
Mm-mm.
girly from like the
From
second
the
he showed
get-go.
up.
The get-go.
Like one of the very first pins I pinned on Pinterest was a Team PETA t-shirt, like when it was new. Okay.
PETA is
Love PETA.
everything. PETA is
The goat.
everything.
The goat.
Everything.
And in the movies, they gave him Josh Hutcherson's arms. Women would fight wars over those arms.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts. I will throw
Good
down
God.
right now. My God.
Yes. So I was like, this is really strange, kid, but okay. So we watch Catching Fire, which is the last one we've watched because they're on a overnight field trip for the next few days. She was like, I really hope Gail dies. And so I was like, are we coming around to PETA? Perhaps. He spoiler alert, spoiler alert, hit him with the if it wasn't for the baby. And she was like, she kind of looked at me, and I don't know if it was an interest or is he really trying to play this game with me right now? But either way, I think, however, she's probably going to be a Finnick Odair girly.
I mean, it's
Aren't we all?
I mean,
We're all Finnick girlies too. Um, so yeah, I just I
listen,
I
PETA is the
love the
goat.
Hunger Games.
PETA
He is
is
the
the
goat.
goat, but like when Finnick enters the chat, like, I
Chewing
mean,
on that sugar cube.
like, my
Woo!
God. My God.
Yeah. I want to reread the books now because it's been a minute since I read the books, but
Yeah.
I watched the movies right around the election
Oh my
because I
God.
needed to feel something. But I think that they were either had just gone back to their dads or they were just kind of in their own vibes doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And so I was watching them by myself, but I'm like, I'm fine to watch them again. And it's like, as soon as one of them comes on, I am like fully
Oh
hooked.
yeah.
I'm like,
It's
I
one of
cannot
those
stop watching. I love
it's
it.
one of those movies or movie series, I guess, that when it's on, like I no matter what I'm doing, I have to stop
Yeah.
and I'm watching it. Like
Yeah.
same with like Crazy Rich Asians, anytime that is playing anywhere, I doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah.
planted.
Yeah. I
Sorry
still have
guys.
to watch this. Sorry.
Sorry.
Um, so that's been fun. I finished my beta read for Amber D. Lewis. I can't tell you anything about it. I did tell her, I was like, I'm so sorry this has taken me so long. The president is who the president is, and I have doom
Yeah.
scrolled my life away, and I'm late getting you this. And she was like, I'm late starting editing because he's the president,
Yeah.
and I've been doom scrolling.
I yeah,
So
I
she
haven't
was like, relatable.
started. I haven't started, so you're not
It's
even the last one.
so good. It is
I
so good. Yeah,
yeah.
you should start it because
I
it's
want
really,
I
I don't
want to
want to say
reread
fun.
the
It's fun,
I
but
want
it's
to reread the first one and then read the second one. Like this year, I don't know what it is about this year, but I've been more like if I'm reading a sequel and I haven't read the books previous like recently, I want to like reread. And I'm not normally like a rereader, but
I was gonna say, are you gonna reread this?
I think the climate that we're in is very much like I need to have less anxiety over what's
Yeah,
going to happen. So, like,
yeah,
peppering in things that I already know how they're going to end is helping
yeah,
with that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I've my problem is I've struggled if there's a screen in front of me. So if it's a Kindle screen or if it's my
Yeah.
phone screen, I'm constantly waiting for Aaron Parnas's next breaking news.
Hmm.
Love his sweet little baby angel face, but he gives me so much stress.
Yeah.
We have
It's a
some major
trauma.
breaking news right now.
Yeah.
Aaron, please, please.
Yeah.
I can't take any more breaking news, but then I can't look away from it either. So I need to,
Yeah.
I guess, break out the physical books and the audiobooks because
Yeah.
I need the screen to be away from me.
That's why I've been on such like I think most of the books that I've read this year have been on audio
Yeah.
simply because I can't focus on
Yeah. Yeah.
anything else.
Okay, so I did my beta read. I finished, or I read, I don't know if I'd started it last week. I read The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik, which is the next book in the Scholomance series. And I'm almost done with The Golden Enclaves, which is the third in the Scholomance by Naomi Novik. And I can't tell you anything
Yep.
other than the gut punch perfection that would have been the end of book two had I
Oh
not spoiled it for myself.
no.
Knows no like I don't even know how to put it into words how much I messed myself up
Oh
because I would have
no.
lived for the pain of the
Oh
ending of the second book.
no.
So like I spared myself a lot of pain, but also like I didn't get to like fully immerse in it either
Yeah.
because I knew it was going to happen.
Oof.
Anyways, it was good. And then I read Playing Flirty by Shamise Patel. More on that later. And and I've been editing my book. So that's really all I've done. I've been back with
I saw
the living and the dead.
I got emails being like Mandy accepted these changes and I'm like why is she
Yep, she
editing in the
started.
Google Doc?
So what's weird is I moved it to a Word doc so that because the Google Doc like really bogs down, it's really slow.
Oh
So I
my God,
moved
yeah.
it to a Word doc and it'll like let me accept, or if it's just like a note that's not like a correction, it'll tell
Right.
me to delete it. So don't get offended if it says deleted. It does
No,
not mean ignored.
no, I
But
don't
yeah,
even.
it's weird that it's telling you from a Word doc.
Yeah. I was like, this is random.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna be editing in Scrivener, so I was like,
I am. So
yeah,
I'm
that's
I have like the Josh got me the secondary screen.
right.
So I have it up and then I'll make the updates in Scrivener and then I'll accept it so I know it's done.
Ah, okay.
But I have to tell you there's 500 something
There's a
left.
lot going
So
on.
you're going to get a lot of emails.
In in my defense, I did stop partway through of like
Capitalization stuff.
capitalization stuff.
Because
So,
I
and
did an
because,
auto.
but yeah, I think, yeah. And some of it was also like, do we know how commas work?
Yeah,
I don't
we
know that
don't.
we
Mm-mm.
do. I
And
don't
then some
know.
of them
Yeah.
were, oh, it's Charlie, it's the love of my life.
Yeah.
We're just
I put in track changes, so anything that I like thought needed to be edited was like you can just hit accept and it'll change it.
accept.
And
Yeah.
then any comments I put as comments. So like
Yeah.
you could just read that and like, okay, I'm moving on. Like and
I loved it.
I don't think that pops up for like if you do anything with the comments, I don't think it pops up for me. Or
I don't
maybe you
know.
just
I've only
haven't.
gotten to a couple and they were like highlighted.
Yeah, so
And
I'm
that's
like
the ones that it says delete
I don't
because I
know.
can like address it.
I don't think that I see those. I think I just see the
Mm.
changes because
Then you
I'm
should see all except. It would just be Mandy accepted 500 times.
Oh my gosh. I'm not an
It's been
editor,
fun though.
guys. I was like,
She
this,
did a great job.
I was just like, this reads funny to me. I don't know what to do
Yeah.
with it, but maybe look at it again.
Fix it.
Just look at
Fix
this,
it.
okay? Just look over here. Look over here.
I need that. So, anyways, yeah, editing The Living and the Dead, writing ideas that I have pop into my head for book two, but nothing. I haven't written any scenes yet. It's just been, oh, this happens. What if this happened? So,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
What did you do this week?
I read quite a few things and I have zero notes, so it's gonna go really well right now.
It's gonna go on vibes.
It's all vibes. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which we've
Oh, that's a
got.
good one.
It's good. It's so good, and I'm so excited that there's a sequel. But you've got she's a vampire and he's a werewolf, and they have to enter into a marriage of convenience because
Mhm.
they're trying to make an alliance between the two groups. And it's an Ali Hazelwood book, and stuff
Yeah.
happens, and there's nodding.
Nodding.
I love the way that like the female main character, and again, I don't know the characters' names. I cannot remember for the life of me.
I can't either.
But like the way that the female main character finds out about nodding is so funny to me. It's just like, oh, okay, maybe we're not compatible in that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Whoops.
which is it's so funny. And yeah, it's Ali Hazelwood. Like 10 out of 10. Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also read Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, which is very different
Oh, I love
vibes.
that one.
It's very good. It's very different vibes from like her other books, but it's
Hmm.
still like it's a still like STEM, and there's just a lot more like mental health aspect to it,
Hmm.
and it's a little bit like darker, not darker, because when I say darker I think of like dark themes, and it's
Dark
not really dark
romance. Yeah.
themes. It's
No.
just it's less calm. It's the in than rom like it's more rom than calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I have no notes, but it's Ali Hazelwood, so it's great.
I remember loving that main character, the male main character.
And Not in Love, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got the female main character works for a company and she's developing a patent, and the male main character is a different company that like buys out business loans, and they bought out
Mhm.
the loan for her company, and they're coming in to evaluate if everything like the owner of her company has broken any like I guess rules or something
Mhm.
in the terms of the loan, and if she has broken anything then they basically get to just take the company from her. And
Yeah.
so the
And
female
all of the
main
patents with
and
it.
everything with it. And so the
Ugh.
female main character is like pissed at the male main character because she thinks like they're vultures and they're just coming in and trying to steal things. But then
Steal my ideas.
the male main character and his company is basically his group of college friends, and they built this company specifically so they could eventually go after this company because of backstory that we find out later in the book, and he actually has a very good reason.
Yeah.
And He is very much, I love the way that he is just like, I would give it everything up. Everything I've worked for years and years to get to this point, and I would throw that all away for you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, we love that. We love
Yep.
it. It's so
And
so
the
yeah.
mouth on him. I remember
My
thinking the
God.
mouth on that man.
Facts. Facts. I am okay. Next up, I Am Not Jessica Chen by Anne Liang. You have Jenna Chen, who is she is like doing her best to kind of meet expectations. She, works really hard. She's daughter of immigrants. I am very
Hmm.
familiar with this life. Her cousin Jessica Chen, however, is like the perfect child, right? She is super smart. She's top of the class. Everybody loves her. Blah blah blah. All of this. One night, on a whim, Jenna makes a wish on a shooting star, and she wishes that she could be Jessica. The next morning, she wakes up as Jessica. Now, Jessica, she has no idea where the real Jessica Chen actually is, and Jenna, who her body and her life is kind of slowly starting to disappear, and people are slowly starting to forget about her as if she
Oh
never
no.
existed. So Jenna, as Jessica, first she's like really excited about it. She's like, "Oh, I actually get to live like this perfect, like things are so different as Jessica, and I'm really enjoying being like everybody looks up to me." And then she starts slowly realizing, one, that like her life as Jenna is slowly disappearing, and two, perfection is really hard to maintain.
Yeah.
So she starts seeing her cousin in a different light, and so it's this whole kind of journey to get back to herself and get her cousin back. At the same time, there is a childhood best friend who knows or has a suspicion that Jessica is not Jessica.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of like a romance aspect to it, and it's very cute. And I mean, it's Anne Liang. I adore her and her writing so much. So yeah, I
Did
loved it.
you know that that's like a lifelong insane fear of mine is like waking up in someone else's body one day? Being like, why am I waking up as Simone Biles? I don't know how to do the Olympics. What do you
Oh my
mean?
God. Oh, that's so fun. Well, there's like there's one scene where she has to like do like a swimming contest or like a race or something, and
Yeah.
Jenna can't swim, but Jessica is like a pro,
Oh
like
no, God.
muscle memory apparently kicks in, and she like does great. And it's like, but yeah, like the fear that she felt, I was like, oh
Yeah.
God.
I
And
remember Victoria Aveyard like threading something about that during the
yeah.
Olympics. Like, this would be the perfect worst day ever for me to body jump between one of these gymnasts. And so that's why my mind went
Oh
to
my
Simone
God.
Biles. Is like,
Ugh.
oh, that's the most relatable fear I've ever heard.
Terrifying. Terrifying. Okay. I read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. You have a girl who, so in this world, I think it's once a year, there's a girl that is picked to be sacrificed to the sea god in order for them to like the storms to not get so bad so that it doesn't destroy the world essentially. This year it is a girl from the female main character's village, and everybody's known since this girl was born that she was going to be a sacrifice. She's so pretty, she's blah blah, all perfect sacrifice, and the sacrifice has become the sea god's wife. And so everybody's known since she was little, like, don't get attached to her because she's
She's
leaving,
going
she's
somewhere.
going at some point. So the female main character's brother doesn't listen and falls in love with her, and she falls in love with him because he's the only one who actually gives
Wait,
her
wait.
what?
The female main character's brother falls in love with her?
No, the girl that's going to be sacrificed.
Okay.
No.
I, I thought the female main character was the girl that was going to be sacrificed.
No.
And along with her, I was like, this is not a book I want to know about.
No.
Stop.
The female, so
Okay.
the girl who's going to be sacrificed is a girl in their village.
Okay. I
And
I
you missed
glossed right
that
over
part.
that in my mind. Yeah. Yeah. I am so
So
sorry.
so she falls in love with him because he's the only one who actually like spends any time with her because everybody else is like keep her at a distance because they know she's going to be sacrificed, so why get attached to her?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, I like, you're a person, you know. So they fall in love. And so on the night that this girl is going to be this would be easier if I had said names, but I don't know names, so that's the problem. So the night that she's like going out to the docks to be sacrificed, and the female main character's brother secretly follows to like save her. And of course the female main character was like, no, I'm going to save my brother because I can't lose him. So they're like hiding in the shadows, and like a dragon who is like an emissary of the sea god comes to get the girl, and her brother jumps out and like stops. He's like, no. And the female main character is like, oh fuck, he's gonna get like murdered and she's still gonna get sacrificed. And so she's
Yeah.
like, no. She runs out in front of both of them and is like, take me instead, I volunteer as tribute, basically.
Oh no.
So then she gets taken to like the not demon world, but like the world. It's under the water and where the gods are, and there's a whole thing in play. And basically the sacrifice didn't work. And so therefore now they're trying to figure out how to the sea god's memories are missing. And so because of that, because he's like not whole, that's why the storms are happening. So she has to go and figure out like, how do I fix this so that I can save the mortal world? And while she's doing this, there's another person who I think he's like the head of some sort of military thing who is helping her, and they fall in love. Duh.
Oh no.
But it's a retelling of I think a Korean folklore tale. And it's beautiful and immersive, and really really lovely. I had a good time.
Okay.
The Queen's Resistance by Rebecca Ross is the sequel to The Queen's Rising, is the first book, which I talked about previously. And so I can't really like explain what
Yeah.
happens in this book because it's a follow-up, but basically first book is about them trying to overthrow the king and put the rightful queen back on the throne. And so second book is the aftermath of that, and how do you go, basically how do you go from doing what you want to do to actually putting it into practice, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like you want, it's like democracy.
Yeah.
Like
You want her to
you,
be queen, but how is
but
how is she
but
at
how,
being a queen now?
yeah,
How does she?
how do you rule after the fact, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of that. There's also like secrets that are being brought to the surface that nobody really knew about. There's still like a romance, which is gorgeous and beautiful. It's Rebecca Ross. It ends lovely. Hilariously, I listened to the end of this book at home because I had started at work and I only had a little bit left to go at home, and so I just had it on my phone with the sound up because I couldn't find my headphones. And so I'm sitting in bed with my phone playing it. It ends and I'm over here like, "Oh, that was so good." And my daughter was like, "That's it?" She was like, because like to her, she didn't get two books worth of
She thought it
story.
was an
She
hour.
was like, no, no, but no, she was like, that's how it ends. Like, that's such a cliffhanger. And I'm like, no, like, if you got the two books worth of
Yeah.
stories, you would understand this is a resolution. Like,
Hmm.
this is everything I could want. But for her, she was like, that's a cliffhanger. And I'm like, no, it's not. I promise
It's
you it's
not
not.
though.
Like, they went through two books worth of stuff. I promise you it's not. So that was really funny. But
Yeah.
it's Rebecca Ross. Like, fucking amazing.
What can you say?
Excellent. She Who Became the Sun and He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan. This is the Radiant King duology. Radiant Emperor duology. So you have, it's pitched as Mulan meets the Song of Achilles. So you have,
Ooh.
it's, it's pretty good.
Ooh.
I like it.
Yeah.
For me, and this is probably because I listened on audio and I was working at the time, so I like pulled focus. So I think if I had put full focus on it, it would have been like easier for me to follow along. But because I was like, my focus was divided, it was harder to keep track of all the characters. And that's my problem. That's a me problem. That's not like a problem of the author. They did an excellent job. So you have a girl who is peasant girl, broke as fuck. Her family is starving. They literally are like digging in the ground trying to find like bugs because there's no food, there's no nothing. One day, her brother, and her dad go to like a fortune teller, and the fortune teller predicts this great like future for her brother. He's got greatness inside him, right? That's his fate. He has a great fate ahead of him. For her, they predict nothing. She's just nothing. And she is not a fan of this.
Mm-mm.
But like she's like, this is just kind of like, what do I do? I'm a peasant.
Yeah.
There's not, what do I do? So one day, bandits come, their dad dies. He was not a good dad, so we're not upset about that. But their
Yeah.
dad is, killed. And her brother basically just gives up on life and just
Oh.
she wakes up one day and he's just dead alongside him. And so she decides, well, if he's not gonna, accept this greatness fate, um, I'm gonna take it myself. So she dresses up as a man, and from like birth, her brother was promised to the monastery. Like once he came of age, they were going to send him to the monastery, and they never did. So now she's like, I'm going to dress up as a man. I'm going to go in his place, and I'm going to take his great fate,
Yeah.
and that's it's going to be my fate now. And so she ends up going to the monastery, pretending to be a man, and all of this. And so it's like a fantasy retelling, not fantasy. Is it fantasy? I can't even remember at this point. I think so. Um but basically, it's kind of like a alternate universe version of the rise of the Ming Empire, the Ming
Hmm.
Dynasty. And so she goes to the monastery and pretends to be a boy, and it becomes a monk and all of this. And she has basically convinced herself, like at this point, she has given up who she used to be. She is a boy. She has this name and blah blah blah, all of this. And due to things that happen after the monastery gets burned down, and she ends up going off into like the military, and there's lots of battles and things like that. And her now what she is like aspiring to is she's like there's this thing called the oh god, what's it called, the I forget what they called it, but there's something where like the emperor is supposed to have basically magic, and
Hmm.
so whoever just demonstrates that they have magic, they're the only ones who can become emperor. And she develops this, and so she's like, well, if I have it, then I can become emperor. I'm a boy now. So
Yeah.
therefore, she is on this like path to her brother's great fate. And she's convinced, like, because I have taken his fate, I'm going to have that greatness, and she's going to become the next emperor. And it is badass and amazing.
Get it, girl.
It's yeah, it's fun. There's some, and she's very much like, I'm not getting attached to anybody because having feel caring about somebody is a weakness, because then
Yeah.
they can be used against you. But of course things happen, and it's very queer, and it's fun. It's a fun time. I
Okay.
enjoyed it.
I think I have it somewhere.
And then I read The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. You have Bristol, who is with her. She has two sisters, and their parents are both dead. And one day they get like this mysterious letter from an aunt that they've never heard of, claiming that she has something of their dad's like to give them. And it's like sketches from Da Vinci. And they're like,
Oh
her
shit.
oldest sister has lost her job. They're struggling to get by. And so she's like, at this point, she's like, okay, maybe I'm gonna go check if this is like a scam or something, or if it's real. Because if it
Yeah.
is, that's gonna be a shit ton of money. Like
Yeah.
sketches from Da Vinci,
from Da
like,
Vinci.
yeah. And so she goes, there's like they have like multiple different like sketches, and
Jesus.
they're just like, you can pick one, whichever one calls to you, you can pick whichever one. And she's kind of skeptical, but at this point she's like, I need to take care of. She's convinced that the reason her mom left and died, and her dad, who went after her and was like despondent after her death, was like, she's convinced that all of that is her fault. So she's like, I have to do this in
Oh,
order to take care of my sisters. And so she ends up taking one, bringing it back, and realizes at some point that the people that she was dealing with are not exactly human. And she
well,
comes home and tells her sister, and her sister is freaking out. She's like, hold on a second. I think you just interacted with fairies. Did you take anything from them? Did you make any promises? Did you broker any deals? Oh no, what's going to happen? And
oh no.
and so she enters into an agreement with the Fae and has to go to the Fae realm in order to. They are wanting somebody who can close like portals between worlds, and there's portals that are open that are like inviting basically the dead in, and therefore madness is
We don't want
happening.
that. Yeah.
Right. And they're like, well, she is the daughter of these people, and so she might be the one who can save us. Because turns out maybe one of her parents isn't quite human,
Ruh-roh.
and maybe possibly they are not exactly dead. And
Well,
so she's like, okay, you have to help me find my dad, because she's not convinced that somebody, I guess, told her that he wasn't dead, even though like it was supposedly a hit and run. And so she just believes it. She's like, he has to be alive. So you have to help me find my dad, and I will help you do what you want me to do. And so it's a whole thing. There's a grumpy captain person who is really mean to her.
hmm,
And I mean, you know, things
yeah,
happen.
I can guess where that might go.
Yeah, it's a fun time. It's the first book. I think it's a duology, so there is a second book coming, which is good because that ending was not made to be an ending, and
That ending
I
was not it.
that was not an ending. I mean, it was an ending, but it was, I need there,
Not the one I
yeah,
wanted.
no, yeah. And then, of course, I read Playing Flirty by Shamiz Patel, which we will talk about shortly. And that was
That was
my
a
week.
busy week.
Well, again, it's, anytime I'm in the office, I can power through many an audiobook
Yeah.
because disassociate with life.
Well, did you have a fictional boyfriend among all of those books?
I really love William from Playing Flirty. He is, I mean, he's a nerd.
Yeah.
He's a game developer. Like, he's clearly so down bad for Rose. Like, from the very
Yeah.
start. It's adorable. I love. And also in the Queen's Resistance, our female main character has an adopted father who is just everything you could possibly want in a parent, especially an adoptive parent, where like he's like, no, you're my daughter. Like
Hmm.
there's no
I
distinguishment
love that.
between like, whether you are of my blood or not. Like,
Yeah.
you are my daughter. And he just like accepts her immediately, and he has a son who is like, yeah, no, that's my sister. Like, the two of them,
Oh.
it's everything you could want, like, as an adoptee, right? You want to
Yeah.
feel like you are a part of this family, and you
Yeah.
don't want, because I mean, I'm not an adoptee, but I can imagine that you can
Yeah.
feel like really disconnected from your adoptive family. And so to have somebody who is very like, doesn't even blink, bat an eye,
Not
is just like,
my
no.
daughter, you bitch.
Right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I that yeah, so like, fictional dad, fictional father, fictional
Love
brother.
it.
Yeah, they're very sweet. And like, to
Very
the
cute.
point where it's like, in this world, her biological father was like kind of a traitor to everybody, and was like overlord of her adoptive father's like lands and was not very
Mm,
nice to the people. So all of the people are not really welcoming of her because
yeah.
they think of her as her father's child. But her adoptive father is just kind of like, that's my daughter. I'm gonna go send you to handle household stuff because you're my daughter. You can handle household
Yeah.
stuff. And she's like, he's like, no, you'll be fine. Like,
Yeah, you can do it.
doesn't realize like they don't actually think of her the same way that he does, but he's like, no, you're like my daughter, so obviously I'm
Yeah.
gonna send you to do this stuff. Which I mean is a little bit shitty for her in the instance, but like also like so lovely that he thinks of
Sweet.
her
Yeah.
that way. So yeah, I wish I remembered names.
It's okay.
What about you?
I'm with William Ashburn too because my lord, I'm
Yeah.
here for a hot Gandalf. I'm here for a hot nerd moment. Love
Hell yeah.
it.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
And then I would not be myself if I did not also say Peter Millark because I am who I am and I'm not going to change.
No.
And I've witnessed PETA this week. So
PETA is life.
yeah.
He's the
I always
best.
say Aaron Warner is my resident death right. He's my favorite. But PETA's the goat.
PETA is
Georgie's
everything.
the goat too. He's just
Yo,
been hanging out.
I know Roma's just hanging in my lap. He just side-eyed you so hard. He's like,
Yeah, well, I
"What are you
know.
doing, mother?" I love it. That sound means we have an intruder alert.
Oh, I'm so excited
I'm
for
so
this intruder.
excited. I really didn't think that this would happen, so I'm so stoked that we got to do this. We have Shamiz Patel, author of Playing for Alerty, here with us
I've got it on
today.
audio because my physical copy is not.
Hi, friends. Karin here. As we mentioned at the top of the podcast, our interview this week was recorded across an ocean. Insert Hamilton line here about being an ocean away. And we kind of joked about how that may affect audio. Well, while editing, I found out that it apparently did, in fact, affect audio. You'll hear a shift about halfway through the interview where Shamiza's audio starts kind of crackling. I did my best with what I had, but I am in no way a techno sound wizard person, so it is what it is. I hope it doesn't take away from your enjoyment of the interview because we had an amazing time with Shamiz, who you will find, and we do mention afterwards, is the ultimate calming presence. Thank you so much for being here, Shamiz, and I'm so glad we were able to make this work.
I am so genuinely excited to be here.
Yay.
All the
Um,
way from South Africa, right? That's where you are?
Right. It's
uh,
11
Across the
p.m. on my
ocean.
side.
oh my
Oh
goodness.
my gosh. This
Mandy
is so
always
cool.
says that if she could, like, she would be up all night and sleep during the day because she's like a night
I'm a
person.
night owl. Yeah.
So, yeah, we
Yeah.
get the late night rearranging of schedules for sure.
Yeah.
I'm both a morning person and a night owl, which is a bit of a
That's
problem.
that's what I say too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what
She's the same. She just doesn't sleep.
I'm like, what is
Yeah.
sleep? I've never heard of her.
Who needs it? Not us.
Oh, I'm a nightmare in the morning. Nobody wants anything to do with me. And I always say, unless I'm on the way to Disney World, then I'm a morning person. But if I'm not heading to Disney, I am a terror in the morning.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So the first thing we usually ask is, can you give us like the elevator pitch for the book for anybody who hasn't heard about
Yeah, I've done this a few times, and every time I panic a little bit.
it?
It's like, I
What did
don't
I
know if you
write?
ever
I
played a
don't
game
remember.
called 30 Seconds, but I feel the same sort of pressure. So it is Playing Flirty is a geeky, steamy, rivals to lovers rom-com about two gaming enthusiasts, one board game and one video game, and they end up having to team up, become unlikely allies in an attempt to win a board game competition. But they soon realize that the game they're playing isn't just on the board.
I'm
I love it
obsessed
so
so much.
much. I love how every chapter was like round one, round
Yes.
two. Instead of chapter, it was like, oh, yes. It just was, it made it more immersive
Mhm.
feeling, which I
I'm
really,
so
really
glad. That was
enjoyed.
like, I was really hoping that the publisher would be okay with that change, and they were happy. So Yay.
Oh, I
It's
love it.
perfect. It's perfect for this book.
So where did this story come from? Like, where was this story born?
It's got a little bit of a sad origin story.
Oh
It
no.
was born during COVID, during lockdown, when I couldn't see any of my friends and family. And I think I wrote Rose having these game nights to sort of live vicariously through her, where she could see her friends and have the best time with them. So a lot of it was born in that time when I was looking for a creative outlet. And aside from that, I've always been a geek, and I don't think there's that many books, adult books about geeks. A lot of them tend to be YA, because once you age up, you're expected to let go of all the fun things in life.
Yeah.
Hate it. I
Yeah.
hate that mentality.
It's the worst. Like, why don't you want to keep having fun?
I know.
That's not
I
fair to yourself.
exactly. I really like from the moment we meet Rose, which is obviously the very first chapter, I'm just like this, she is me and I am her. And I felt so like validated. Like even down to like her being so short that they call her a hobbit. I'm like, I am also a small person. People put things on the top of the fridge. I also will not be able to reach that. I
Oh, I love that.
it was so much the spreadsheet thing. I'm like, that is me, like to a T.
Yes.
How much of yourself did you put into Rose, and did you kind of, I don't know. I feel like for me, if I was writing somebody who was so similar to myself, I would feel like I was calling myself out a little bit as well. Like, did you ever feel that way with, especially with all of like the geeky and nerdy references as well?
So I'm definitely a big fangirl, but Rose is like me times a million. So there was that divide that I could definitely tell the difference between what was me and what was her, because I basically took something I liked and I just knew that she would obsess over it and she would make it part of her personality, so much more than I would. And so there's definitely bits of me in Rose, but just enough to sort of plant a seed. And then she grew on her own.
I love that.
Oh, I love her. Someone else I love Nima. I need a book
Oh.
about her. Can we please have a Sean and Nima book?
You're not the first person that has asked me for that. So I'm thinking about it.
Oh, good.
Oh, that would be
Because
so fun.
oh, I know, like a little connected multiverse of geeky game night. It could all like be centered around game night as long as we come back to game night. Speaking of game night, I know you say that you're a geek. Are you also a gamer? And if so, what's your favorite format? Your game, all of that.
I am a gamer, but I call myself like a casual, cozy gamer because, again, I don't play it weekly. I play whenever I get time. I love both board games and video games. I can't say I have a favorite between the two because they're enjoyed for different reasons. I play
Yeah.
video games at night when I'm alone, and I play board games when I've got friends over. So it's two completely different entertainment options for me. In terms of board games, I'm a huge fan of 30 Seconds, which is a South African game, I believe. I also enjoy all the classics. I'm not geeky enough to have really delved into much of the indie board games, but I would like to. And then in terms of video games, I really enjoy all the cozy stuff like The Sims, Stardew Valley, Palia. I don't know. Do you guys play any games?
Um,
Not as much as I would like, I think. Like I would love to be able to like sit down with something cozy like Stardew Valley and just escape a little bit, but I think I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't really find myself gravitating towards games. I'm usually more like books and reading.
oh, I survived COVID because of The Sims and Animal Crossing, particularly. As soon as the world shut down, I was like, I gotta download The Sims. I this is gonna help me survive. And then
I stress download The Sims about once a year and then I just
yes,
disappear into it for about 48 hours and resurface like a new person that has finally let go of
yes,
certain traumas.
exactly.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's
I
I
love
don't even really care to for the gameplay. I just want to build the house and
that.
design it perfectly and like Like I built my house during COVID and I like showed my nieces
That's
like, look, I
so
made your
cool.
room. But I'm the same way.
I
Once it gets to like an anxiety level, it's like, I just need The Sims. I just
Yeah,
need The Sims.
it's compartmentalizing. It's awesome. I absolutely love The Sims and have since I was a teenager.
I feel
Yeah,
like I need to.
same.
This is my sign. I've never actually played The Sims, guys.
Ever?
Ever. Like
Ever?
not
Oh
even,
my
yeah.
gosh.
So I feel
I've
like
been
this
playing The
is my
Sims since
sign.
middle school.
I feel like this is my sign to maybe try it for the
You
first time.
should. I think you
And I
should.
about with board games, I don't know the name of it. I've played several that I really liked, but there's one that our friend group played. It's been years now, but it was like one or two people would be like they'd get a card that they were red, and then everybody else was blue, and you like had to prove that you were blue even if you were red, and it was like a spy game. I could not for the life of me remember the name
Okay,
of it. We always
there are
used
a
to be like,
few
"I'm true
versions.
blue. I'm true blue."
It's actually a very popular sort of group game. And there's a few versions of it. I think the one is called Mafia, the one's called like Werewolf. So it's basically always two sides, like
Yeah.
either cops and criminals, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh
It
yeah.
really gets
Oh,
the whole crowd hyped.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
We'll be in screaming matches. I'm true blue. Meanwhile, you're holding the red card. They can't see it.
Oh, I love it. Did you have a favorite part of this book that you really like enjoyed writing or coming up with?
For me, I really just enjoyed the back and forth between Rose and William. I had
Yes.
so much fun playing around with their banter and just trying to think of I don't know what I thought was the quickest little comebacks that they could have for each other. So I had so much fun with their dialogue.
Oh yes. Their banter is
It's
incredible.
top-notch banter. I'm obsessed with it.
I'm glad it came across that way.
I want to talk about the cover because there are so many geeky Easter eggs. We've got a
Hold it up.
well-known hat. We've got a wizard plushie. We've got a Nintendo, a dice. Like, I can't even. How involved were you in like the cover design?
Um, it was so wonderful. They asked me for references for things that I think should be on the cover, and then they sent me a couple sketches, and they had it spot on. It was perfect. They came up with the sort of nonogram on the floor, and you can't really see it that well on the book, it's so small, but the little tiles spell out grow. Um,
No.
I love it's right there.
Oh my
It's hard to
gosh.
see.
so cute. They really did give so much attention to detail, and I adored it.
It's so cute. The moment I saw this, I was like, I need to have that. Like, I feel like it's a romance and it's nerdy. Like, I don't know what else I could ask for, quite honestly.
Right.
It's so perfect.
Like I want to go to a convention and like ask everybody, like, have you read this? Have you read
Yeah,
this?
right?
Because like everybody will love it. Because like
Yes.
you're right, there's not
Same.
enough like geeky adult books.
Yeah.
And so this was
So
really
too
fun.
that adult geeks just read fantasy, which we do, but we can also enjoy a contemporary romance from time to time.
For sure.
100%. So I think this is your romance debut, right? You also write fantasy though, as well. So, I mean, fantasy and romance are the beat of my heart, right? And so,
Mhm.
what is it like not transitioning, because I'm sure you're going to continue writing fantasy as well, but what is it like jumping between the two genres? Do you have to come at it in different ways?
I do, especially because the fantasy I've written in third person multi POV because obviously the world is big, there's a big cast, and the romance is written completely from Rose's point of view in first person.
Hmm.
So it is all friends, just a different genre, a different beast to handle. I do take a the time between the two. If and it's come back on one because there was a bit of overlap in editing playing fantasy and editing the fun my fantasy trilogy. And I had to take a beat between the two to just really sort of get rid of Cassian, Lucas and Lachlan and the King and murder and try and get my mind back into the sweet and the soft love that Rose and William have for each other. But that being said, it's like kind of a palate cleanser to write a romance after fantasy. as much as I love fantasy. It is it's challenging in a different way. I'm not saying that writing romance is easy, but it's the same feeling you get when you read a fantasy and then you read a contemporary romance. It's like it's just much lighter. So I quite like that I get to balance the two.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, you're exactly right. Like when you say like it's the same way when you're reading it, it's sometimes you just need that break because fantasy is so big and so much world building and so in depth. And a contemporary romance, you don't have to build the world. We know,
Not in the same way.
right. We
Yeah.
know what a job is like. We know what somebody who's got a grumpy brother is like. We know what game nights are like. So
Yeah,
but then it's still a craft, though. Even with it being a
absolutely.
cute
It's got its
rom-com, you
own
still.
challenges.
Yeah.
It's got its own challenges, much less law.
So, what is your writing process like?
We have the most chaotic writing process. It is.
Oh,
I,
I
I
love
wish it
this.
wasn't. I wish it wasn't. But I also have a kid. She's 6 years old at the moment. So when I was writing these books, which again overlaps a little bit, it was done with a toddler that was kind of always around me. So I did it in little snippets on my phone whenever there was like 10 minutes. I
Hmm.
needed to jot down an idea. So everything came out in bits and I edited it. I didn't focus when editing. So I edited between, I would say, 10 p.m. and midnight because that was basically the time that the house went to bed and I could focus. So it was chaotic. This book was written everywhere it could be written. There was no time to light a candle and find a playlist and set the mood. It was you've got time. That is the mood you're going to write.
I love when we ask that question and the first thing out of an author's mouth is it's chaos
Chaos.
because it's how I write as well. It's super chaotic and it's validating to know that other people are the same way. Like successful authors are the same way as me. So
Yes.
thank you.
Just all over the place with it. Oh, this is George Bailey. We
George
call him our show
Bailey.
dog.
Oh,
Hmm.
he's
Yeah,
very
he wanted to
cute.
come say hi. He was down here begging, so it's like, okay,
Okay, I guess.
you can come up here. It's fine.
So I doggy distracted me. Karin, you were saying about about authors being chaotic. I dare I say authors are some of the most chaotic people in the world.
I think so.
Which is so cruel when you're supposed to have a perfect end result,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
Yeah,
it's
You're just
just
like,
chaos.
right. It's like you.
chaos.
I feel like most authors that we talk to just have all these ideas in their mind and having to like parse that out and find the story in that chaos is just it lends itself to a chaotic process, right?
Yeah.
It does. And I don't like pausing the manuscript to sort of go back and be like, did I say earlier, did I say that the lady at the store's name was Karin or was the lady's name Mandy? But you know what? That means really Mandy.
Yeah.
Now I'll come back, I'll figure that out during the editing process. So like I've had people's names change, I've had icons changing. Mid book. And gosh, when I edit it, though, I have to. That's when the rose in me comes out. I'm like, okay, where's my spreadsheet? Bring up
Yes.
the spreadsheet and really start breaking down each chapter. But that first draft is just complete word vomit. And my number one rule is don't go back and edit while writing that first draft.
It's so hard because I'm so like I want everything to be perfect the first time, right? If I don't do
That's how
it
I am
right the
too.
first time, then what's the point? But that's not productive.
No, it's not
It's
productive at all.
it's discouraging because you look at it, you're like, well, if it's not perfect, what's the point? But like, no, that's part of the process.
Yeah,
Like,
you got
just
to let
let it
yourself live
flow.
through it.
Yeah. So,
Just write it out and you'll find that, I mean, I actually changed the beginning of Plain Flirty 3 times for finding the one that really felt right to me. But I think title can be written. So, I mean, imagine I got stuck on that first chapter.
oh my gosh. Yeah. Then
That's true.
then where would you be? We wouldn't have this book.
No, and I loved it. I'm obsessed with William.
Yes.
I mean, I can't help it though. I love it. I love a nerd. I do love
It's
a
true.
nerd. I am
Just,
a nerd and I
oh,
love a nerd.
Yeah.
it's such fault.
He's so smooth.
My God, right? I'm
He's so
obsessed.
smooth. Like he just,
Yeah,
but then you also know he's like, I don't even feel like it's a spoiler. You know from the moment you like open the book
He
that this
is
man is
he's
just
gone for
full
her.
send for her.
Down bad for real.
Yeah.
Like,
I was biased because I wrote him, but I adore him. He has been one of my favorite characters to write. And a lot of people have asked for his point of view. I wasn't shy to be inside his mind. So
oh, I get that. I totally
Yeah.
get that though. Okay, so now is actually the perfect time since we're
I was gonna
talking
say,
about
in that
William.
vein.
We have a couple questions that are like mandatory questions that we always ask. One of them being we have a segment on the podcast in which we call fictional boyfriend of the week, where we pick a fictional character that we love. It doesn't necessarily have to be a boyfriend. I've had a fictional granny. Mandy's had a fictional son. Like just a fictional character that we really love that week. Do you have any characters that you're like, this person is perfect? Everybody needs to know who they are. Any comfort characters?
oh goodness, there are so many with years. So let me try and figure out one that's like get the
This
mood
is where you're
right at
like, have I
least.
ever read a book? Have I
Right.
ever watched a movie?
What are your
Just like
four,
in my head, I'm like, there are 5 million of them, but I
right?
Yeah.
can't
What's
name a
media? I don't know.
single.
I don't know any pop culture. Anything.
In terms of reading, I would definitely say that the romances tend to appeal to me most because I can't find myself rereading fantasy as much as I love reading them the first time because of that heaviness. I don't tend to go back. So I'll finish the series and I'll just be done for them and I'll love them in my heart and never does it come again. Uh, so romances are things that I visit a little more often. And quite recently, I really enjoyed Aaron Connor's Unromance. Mason is just, he is so sweet. I could definitely see myself just having a wonderful yap with him. Just yap over a cup of coffee
Yes.
and just feel safe and cozy, not necessarily sexy stuff because that's where it's business. But he's
Yeah, but
definitely
he's definitely,
growing quite quickly.
yeah, we're a fan.
Um, and in terms of a cozy show, something to watch, it's The Lord of the Rings. I
Yeah.
just hear the intro music, I just feel really emotional.
I
I'm with you.
yeah, I love that.
I started making my nieces watch them. I think during COVID actually, because they were with us during like the major lockdown. And I'm like, I hadn't really watched it since high school, but I watched it all the time then, and I'm quoting it before they say it. And my husband is like, "You are such a nerd." And I'm like, "It's Lord of the Rings, man. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
it's
Like, we're
it's
supposed to be able to recite this."
Mhm.
exactly, it's mandatory learning.
Yes. Are you surprised?
It was a whole cultural phenomenon, like a whole cultural
Yeah.
movement at the time. Like, what do you mean you can't quote this verbatim from start to finish?
I don't relate to you.
Exactly.
I don't know what you're saying. All right. Another question that we like to ask is we know that we love your book. We are going to recommend it. We're going to tell everybody that they need to read it. But when you're not writing, what are you reading? What are some of your favorite books? Any books that you recommend?
I think the other Romance was a recent one. So I really love most recently, which I just was so sweet. I don't know how I didn't find it any sooner. I was almost mad while reading it. Instead of just enjoying the book, I was a little bit angry. Like, it's been up so long, nobody's recommended it to me.
What
I
has
had a
Oh,
lot of fun
happened?
with it. I
I,
had a lot of fun with that too.
I almost love when that happens when you're like when the not necessarily like the hype has died down, but it's like when you discover something after everybody else and you're like, I'm mad that I didn't have this before, but also like I get to experience it on my own now instead of as everybody else is.
It is very special. The same thing happened to me with The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which oh gosh, I enjoyed that so much. And I was shocked by how much I enjoyed it because I don't always go way too far away from romance and fantasy. So when I picked that up, I think it was just because it was all available. I was like, sure, okay. I need something to listen to. And I was hooked. I listened to it every free second I had. I was obsessed.
I love that.
Can I tell you that is exactly how I was with Playing Flirty? Like I finished it in a day because I was like, I cannot stop. I have to know. Like I cannot wait any
Yes.
longer to get like
I need
we know there's an HEA, okay?
right.
I
But I
need to
need
get
to get
this.
there. I
I
need
need
to
to get
see.
here. And I'm
That
like,
is
please
so
don't break
nice.
up.
Thank
Please
you.
don't break up.
That's the yeah. They were just so perfectly adorable together. And it's like
Hmm.
and you know the third act's coming and you're like, oh no. But then you're
I'm like,
like, but they're
please.
gonna come together. It's torture in the best way.
Yes. Yes,
And it's
100%
it's
yes.
right. It's breaking up your cups. It's I suppose it needs to be done.
Well, it was everything was done perfectly.
It was
I
great.
so
Thank you
enjoyed this
so
book.
much.
So what comes next? What are you working on right now? Is there anything you can tell us?
I think so. So you mentioned that you love the multiverse game night. Is in book two in series planned for 2026. And it won't be Sean and Lima. They are still sort of on the cards. I didn't pitch that. In Lincoln, the very, very shy genius in their
Oh,
circle. And what I can tell you, I think, is that he is very shy, so he doesn't flirt well in real life. He does flirt very well online.
Oh my God, I'm so
Video
excited.
games.
can't
So we'll
wait.
get into delve into video games and all that.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Oh,
This is everything.
I know.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, this is also a very good time to let you know that now
Uh-oh,
that you
yeah.
have been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for all future book releases.
Like
So
sorry, not
sorry.
sorry.
Not really sorry.
Not sorry.
Considers my signature to say yes. Stamp of
Yes.
approval.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, everybody, Playing Flirty is out now. So you can go into a bookstore and pick up this freaking adorable book. It's so good. Thank you so much, Shamiz, for making this happen. We're so glad we were
This
able
has
to talk to
been so
you.
much fun.
So
Thank
much
you
fun.
so
I love it.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I've
you.
had a ball.
We're
And
so excited.
we're so excited for everybody to hopefully like there's plenty of nerds out there, adult nerds who need adult romance in their life.
Yeah. And
So,
need that
Exactly.
representation to be
yeah,
seen and see
like
themselves in these characters.
truly, everybody go pick up a copy now because it is available. Just walk into your favorite bookstore, grab it off the shelf.
Yes.
Thank you
You're gonna
again.
love it, I promise.
Thank you so much. Have
we
an awesome day.
we will talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
My
Oh
hand is
my
trapped.
gosh, I love
I love
her.
her. Oh my
And being
gosh.
willing to talk to us all the way from South Africa
At 11 o'clock at night.
at 11 o'clock at
Like,
night. Like,
so sweet. I
love
adore
it. Love
her. I love
her.
this book. Seriously,
She's
y'all,
got such a calming like presence where I just want to like be around her.
right?
Like,
Like, I
yeah,
feel
she's so
like
peaceful.
I feel like I like turned down all the lights, lit a couple candles, put on like put out like essential oils, and just was like
Yeah.
chill and
Yeah.
relax. And that's what her presence
I
does.
love
That's what
her
it feels.
aura. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
She's the
Oh,
vibe.
I'm so glad we were able to make that work.
Yeah, me too.
Yay!
All right. Let's do some announcements.
Yay! I'm so excited. I've been excited to read this book for a while.
I
Um,
have too, because we've had it for a while. They
we
sent it
have.
super early, which was
We've
great.
had it for a while, and I read her first book and I really loved it. And I like the moment I saw this cover, I knew I needed to have it as well. So next week, y'all, we're talking to Jennifer Chen, author of Hangry Hearts. Like, I'm sorry. It's so cute.
I'm
It's
gonna have to order
so
Chinese food this weekend.
I'm going to go to dim sum and bring the book and just sit and read because
We're gonna get hangry
yeah, that we did this to
talking about
ourselves.
all this food.
I mean, the book is Hangry Hearts. So,
Exactly.
like, yeah.
It's on brand.
I feel like maybe
We
next
always
week
bring it around.
we should have some food. We should have some food while we record because
Yes.
that's
It's mukbang ASMR. That's what we'll call the episode. You're just
perfect.
gonna have to listen to us smacking.
All right. Well,
Oh wait,
friends. What?
wait. We have
What?
another announcement.
We have another announcement.
We're gonna be together
Oh yeah. I was
at
like, we
Y'all
do.
West.
Okay, you guys need to understand that when Mandy says something, she will follow through, okay? For a while, after a little bit of a disaster of Y'all Fest for us
Yeah,
personally,
that was a rough
man, it
23.
was it was a little rough. Mandy was like, I don't know that I will make the effort to go back unless Taharamafi is there. And so the moment that Y'all West announced that she was doing one of the keynotes, I screenshot it and sent it to Mandy, and within 10 minutes she had booked a flight to LA for that
Yep.
weekend.
It was like, I will be there.
I was like, listen, if this is what I have to do to make you come visit me, and it's not
It's
even
just
visiting
Tata.
me.
I mean, it's visiting you too.
but like but like
I
it's
wouldn't have gone if you weren't like, I wouldn't have been like, because my husband can't go. He's got
right.
other stuff. So it's just me. I
Hmm.
don't know that I would have flown to LA solo just to go to Y'all West. But
Mm-hmm.
since you're going to be there,
I'll be there. Heather will be there with us.
Heather's going to be there.
We are also going to Star Wars After Dark at Disneyland that same weekend. It actually worked out really well because we
I
had extra
know.
tickets for Star Wars. So which is the day after Y'all West. So we're making a weekend of
That's the most impulsive thing I think I have ever done. Because
it.
normally I am a like, I have to plan it out. I have to, look into this and consider that. And I was like, nope,
N-
nope, I'm
mm-mm.
done.
Yep,
I'm booked.
it's
I had
happening.
miles. My flight cost me $11.
It's happening. I love
Happening.
it.
I'm gonna. I didn't even do this on purpose, but I'm wearing my Aaron Warner sweatshirt. I'm gonna be able to show her my tattoo. It's gonna
I'm
be great.
I'm so excited. Like literally, I said it as a joke. I was like, I'm just saying this is a good reason for you to come visit. And then next thing I know, I've
I'm
she's got
sending
her
you a screenshot.
she's like, "All right, I'm coming." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Be ready.
And just for the record, for anybody who's listening, I am picking her up from LAX. And
I
if you have
know.
ever been to LAX or had to pick someone up from LAX, you know this is an act of true love. LAX, I have only ever gone to pick somebody up from LAX once, and that was Beth. And I vowed I would never ever do it again.
See, which is so why. I guess it's because I'm spoiled because the Atlanta airport is my home base. Okay. It's
Mhm.
huge, it's chaotic. And I'm like, if you can master the Atlanta airport, you can master anything. And so picking someone up from the Atlanta airport is nothing.
Yeah, picking
And so,
like
but
San
then
Jose is
Atlanta
fine,
traffic and
but
LA traffic are not the same. LA
no,
traffic is so much worse.
no.
So much
I
worse.
I once had somebody tell me they flew into LAX. When they landed, they ordered their Uber, and the Uber had was like at like the beginning of like the line to get into pickup for LAX, and they were like on the other side, and it took them an hour for the Uber that was already there to get from one end to the other
Oh
because of how
no.
bad it is.
I think I need to take the transportation to the rental car place and let you pick me up there because the traffic there, last time I was in LA, was not bad at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only ever been there once. Heather is like, I'll handle it. And I'm like, okay, as long as I don't have to drive. I hate driving in LA. I cannot express how much I hate driving in LA. It is my least favorite thing in the world. I hate it so much. So anytime somebody else can drive when I am in LA, I am here for it.
Yeah, you're like,
So
fine.
I was like, Heather is a Southern California native. She has done, travels a
She's
lot.
a pro.
She's handling all that, but I will be in the car. So
Yes.
I'll
Both of
be there.
you. We are gonna be together at Y'all West. So
And Disneyland.
at Disney.
Ah!
Yep.
The first time we ever met in person was at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So, oh, we're going full circle.
So
I love this.
cute.
I love
I know I
this
told
for
my
us.
after because of course like I'm talking to my husband as I'm booking the flight, right?
Right, of
Because like
course.
we have pets and a home to coordinate
Right,
because obviously he's going to be doing some traveling too, so we got to
right.
coordinate who's going to be here with them, which
Mhm.
we will have a house sitter. But after I had booked it, I was like, I woke up this morning and I didn't know that I was going to Disneyland in 2 months. So, like, anything is possible because this morning I wasn't going to Disneyland and now I am.
I love that. I'm obsessed
I
with
know.
that. That makes me
We were
so
talking about like I don't want to jinx it, but wow. Because
yeah.
I'm going to see you and go to Y'all West and Disneyland, and then a month later I'm going to see Hozier, and then I'm going on a Disney cruise, and then I'm going to Romania. Wow, what a year.
What a year.
Let me knock on wood.
I
What a
love that.
year.
I love that for you. I'm
I know.
obsessed. That makes me so happy. I'm
I
so
just
excited.
decided YOLO.
For real though. I
Do you
mean,
realize that this dude has been standing here this whole time? He's just standing there looking out the window.
meanwhile, mine is over here just
Sweet
asleep and
boy.
don't mind my pajama pants.
Patreon exclusive.
Oh. It looks like we match because they're the same color, but his are sheep and mine is bluey. But it doesn't matter. It's still
Yeah.
adorable. He's so
Very
chill.
adorable. All right, let's get into a
All
spiel.
right, friends. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. Follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. Visit our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream our episodes as well as read our blog. Subscribe to Patreon to get early access to podcast episodes, full video episodes, and exclusive bonus content. If you're a merch person, we have some cute merch designed by Mandy. Head to theincoherentfangirl.com/shop to do some shopping there. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas you want to tell us that we're pretty, we will accept
Take
all of
it.
that in our inbox, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from y'all. And of course, one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. You know we love words, so give
Give us those
all of
words.
them. All the words. She is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Ms. Made in China on all the things.
And once you followed us on social media and you followed the podcast on social media, you can head over and do some self care because the world is still on fire and self
It's on
care is
fire.
really important right now. Probably literally soon, quite frankly. Who knows?
Mm.
First stop is you're going to visit our friend Here Comes the Nerd at herecomestenerd.com. Get you some pins and artsy goodies. Use code FANGIRL to get 20% off your first order.
And once you've got all of your artsy goodies and pins, you're going to head over to onceuponabookclub.com. You can get a subscription. You can get some standalone boxes, some extra goodies that they have. We have 2 codes. You have to choose one. We love you no matter which one you pick, but you're going to use either code Karin10 or Mandy10 for 10% off. But unfortunately, if you spell Karin wrong, we are going to sacrifice you to a bad Gandalf at a convention,
Yes.
and you're going to get 0% off. So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly that.
I pulled that one right out of my butt.
I was wondering what you were going to do with it.
It's like, where am I going with this?
All right, and next up, you're going to head over and visit our friend Amber D. Lewis at amberdlewis.com. Add 10 of everything to your cart and use code FANGIRL10 to get 10% off of your 10 of everything, which means you've gotten 1 of everything for free.
Yeah.
It's perfect math.
That's how it works.
Mhm.
And then last but not least, we're going to go support the show husband. So you can follow at Searchers Believe on everything. That is the paranormal investigation group. If you go to searchersbelieve.com/shop and use code fangirl10 there, you will get 10% off of merch designed by moi. Then we also have the Searchers podcast, formerly the Paranormal Mind. I think it sounds like he's downstairs editing right now. Every few minutes I get a hint of some voices down there. So he may be editing that. So it will be live soon. So you can follow at, I think it's at Searchers Podcast. I set it up. I should know that. It's been like a week.
That's fair.
But anyways, go look for the Searchers Podcast anywhere you love your podcasts. You can also subscribe to their Patreon. And then last but not least, we have Stream Beacon TV, which is a new streaming platform for paranormal, true crime, and horror content. Funnily enough, we talk about on the Searchers podcast how careful Southern people are when saying the word horror. And I specifically talk about how I can't make eye contact with you when I say it anymore.
I can never look at her when she says it because then she'll start laughing.
Because if we say it quickly in our accent, it's gonna be horror. And people are like, what kind of platform is it?
I
So it's
mean, I'm here for
horror.
it.
So if you go to streambeacontv.com and subscribe, you can use code fangirl10 and get 10% off of your subscription. You can support the show husband. We've got some very exciting things coming down the platform, down the pipeline platform, both
Yeah,
to the platform, down the pipeline.
that's
Bada
the
bing.
one. That's the one.
Oh Lord, that was an
Oh man.
incoherent fangirl.
It sure was. Thanks for
Thank
listening. We
you.
love
We love
you.
you. Bye.
Bye. We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.